The PowerPoint. Sir, this is the live streaming. I will ask Sir Sherwin where the laptop is for. Hi, sir.
Just on. Tapos sa iyo po tayo. Kailangan nila doon talaga sa edge. Kita ka dyan. Sa edge talaga. Yeah. May naisip lang ako. Reflected siya. Mirror image siya. So kung dito, naka-flip yung words. Hindi, pagka nag-presentation na. Meron ba tayong pang-flip? I mean, nag-flip ba siya yung dito camera?
days na meron kami po. So, this song yan. So, isa na tumatawag po yung ating mga kababayan.
Sorry.
Estudyante,
Thanks, Kay.
from ages 7 to up. Ang aming youngest kasi 7 and the eldest scholar is 75. So, lahat po pwede tinawag sa akin for as long as kailangan po rin namin makakusap. Express po yung kailangan sa akin. So, yung ating mga kababayan, pwede sila tumawag sa 804-467. So, ayun po, 804-467-30 or 0917-558-4673 or dial 29291 for OPM and those subscribers for this company. At saka meron din po kami line for Cebu, which is 0917-868-467.
You can look your website na website and they can also visit yung office na Facebook.
Meron din kami Facebook at meron din kami website. So pwedeng check ko nila sa website ng www.ngf-home.org. At yung aming Facebook is Natasha Global Foundation.
Okay? Salamat. Thank you po for introducing Natasha Global Foundation. And si Doc, siguro konting last message po. Mga mensahe po sa mga makikinig sa atin. Ano po?
Kasi natatanda kayo yung question, di ba? Hindi naman siya kailangan maging malala at lalo hindi siya kailangan makawin sa suicide. So, ang kailangan natin kasama, may nakikinig sa inyo, then that's part na yun sa hotline. And then, you can just refer afterwards pag talagang kailangan natin more in-depth. Even sa office ng Natasha Gold, I can also cater to the actual patient. Pero is, hope is there. So, talagang huwag sayangin ang buhay habang pag-asa sa pag-tapusin.
So, lalo na po, na-encourage din namin yung mga kabataan kasi sa home life, napapansin mo namin na marami kami color ng mga kabataan. At saka yung ating mga nasa employment stage or from ages 18 to 39 po yung aming mga main colors sa home life. So, ito po, kadalasan po kasi ang mga tumatawag sa aming sport o relationship problem. It's either in the family, broken homes, or di kaya about child sexual abuse, about bullying, and then about the gender issues. So, marami din po kami ngayon na mga
Okay, good afternoon, everyone. And welcome to Speaking of Devcom Conversations with Devcom's Finest. So we're happy to see that there are so many people here today na gustong makinig sa conversations natin with the outstanding alumni of Devcom. Of course, they are seated in front. And later, you will have the chance to listen to their stories and experiences in their practice as Devcom practitioners.
But before we begin, ma'am, let us introduce ourselves first. I am JM from the Department of Educational Communication.
And I'm Yas from the Department of Development Journalism.
So to start our program, we call on Mr. Jerry Agorilla for the invocation and Miss Victorina Diaz II for the national anthem.
Tayo po tayong lahat. Let us pray. Lord, may your goodness and love be present among us today. Come, bless our gathering with unity, hope, and vision. Lord, we pray for unity. Build in us all a deep respect for one another so that your church may be one. Lord, we pray for hope. Come stir your hope within our hearts and renew our faith. Lord, we pray for vision. Your vision fill our lives as we seek to reveal your love. We seek all this in the glorious name of Jesus. Amen.
Bayang mag-ibig para sa silalanan. puso, sa dibdib mo'y buhay. Lupang hinirang, tuyan ka ng mag-ibig, sa manlulupi, di ka pasisiil, sa dagat at bundok, sa simoy at sa langit pupukhaw. May dilagang pula at awit sa pagnayang minamahal, ang islap ng wataw at mo'y tagumpay na nagniningning, ang bituin at araw niyang kailan, ang may di magdidilim, lupa ng araw ng buwan at ipagsinta, buhay ay langit sa piling mo. Ang inigaya lamang may mga api, ang pamatay ng dahil sa'yo.
Thank you, Jeric and Victorina. So everyone, please be seated.
First of all, no, we would also like to welcome the presence of our outstanding alumni. Palakpakan po natin sila. Ayan. So siguro, no, very reminiscent tong moment na to doon sa journey nyo nung kayo ay nandito pa sa college, no? So it's a homecoming at the same time, no? We're very excited to hear your piece of wisdom that you would like to share to the current Devcom students right now. At syempre sa mga faculty na nandito rin ngayong araw.
Yun. And syempre, sa panahon ngayon, we would like to share the experience, di ba, with as many people as possible. So please, let's greet the people who are watching us on live streaming. And tell them, yung dun sa iba niyo pang friends na wala dito, you can tell them to watch the live streaming at this URL, bit.ly/cbcaa2016.
Live na live po tayo ngayon, no? At syempre naman, sa mga dito sa auditorium, no? Kung if you want to make tweets about this event right now or want to take a photo and upload it on social media, kindly use the hashtag CDCAA2016. Again, that's CDCAA2016.
Sige, ipa-trending natin yan.
Okay, pa-trending natin talaga to.
Okay, so now may we call on our Dean, Dr. Maria Teresa H. Velasco, for the opening remarks.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Special mention to our distinguished alumni. One of them came all the way from Indonesia. But I will not preempt the introductions because they will have their moment later. When this title was broached to me sometime back by Sherwin Felicidario, I told him I liked it very much because of the word Devcom's finest. They are indeed some of Devcom's finest, and they are this year's finest. You will also have, let's give them a big round of applause. You will also have your chance. Someday, you will be taking their place, and you will be sharing with them how you have used Devcom to push forward the development agenda. And we hope that will be soon. Are you accepting the challenge? Yes. Now, ang hina naman.
Yes!
Okay. So, mark this day. You have accepted my challenge. And I hope I'm still around when you are already in your place. I would also like to take this opportunity before we present to you our outstanding alumni to thank the people behind this series of events for our Loyalty Day. They are the faculty members and the alumni who make up the recently constituted CDC Alumni Association Board of Directors. And we have already elected the officers among ourselves. So may I request those people I'm going to call to join me here in front. Our president, of course, is Sherwin Joseph Felicidario. I'm calling you here in front because this is a rare opportunity so that you will also be seen on live streaming. So these are your officers this year and for the next 3 years, no? Until 2019. Okay. Our Vice President and also concurrently the Alumni Relations Officer of the College of Development Communication is Assistant Professor Lester Ordan. Okay. I think he is attending to his sick child. Okay. Our secretary is Associate Professor Benjamina Paula Flor. Our Public Relations Officer is Assistant Professor Aldo Gabriel Lee. Popularity contest. The auditor is Assistant Professor Mark Lester Chico. And the treasurer is Neil Aldrich Nachor from the Bank of the Philippine Islands. So hindi siya tagalog. The ex-official members are the college secretary, Assistant Professor Hermilea Marie Castillo. Ex-official po. The dean is also an ex-official member. And the immediate past president, Assistant Professor Dr. Edmund Centeno. So these are the officers of your CDC Alumni Association for 2016 to 2019. Thank you very much. And thank you for all your effort to make this affair a successful one. Also the Loyalty Day Parade. Thank you to our alumni for joining us in yesterday's awarding ceremonies. And today, this has been a tradition we set up a few years back because we really wanted to honor our outstanding alumni for your stellar work in development communication. But most importantly, for you to be able to share what you have been doing with our students and to inspire them to do as much as you can, if not more. So thank you very much, everyone, and have a good day.
Thank you very much, Dr.
Thank you,
Velasco. Okay, so simulan na natin ang saya.
Yes, ma'am. Ayan, alam ko, excited na tayong lahat na mapakinggan ang ating mga alumni na nandito ngayon.
That's right. So for our first speaker, she finished her undergraduate education right here at the College of BS Development. She finished BS Development Communication, majoring in Educational Communication here at UPLB. And then
She finished her master's degree, her postgraduate degrees at also here in UPLB and her PhD in the University of Western Australia.
as an instructor of development communication, she was a member of a 4-person team of instructors that developed and pilot tested the modules for the initial offering of Devcom as a course at the Mariana Marcos State University.
And as a project leader of iPad, or Improving Technology Promotion and Delivery through Capability Enhancement of Next-Gen RISE Extension Professionals and Other Intermediaries from 2013 until today.
Well, as project leader, she led the development of proposal and and the implementation of the project to help invigorate the country's extension system. And at present, she's a Chief Science Research Specialist at the Devcom division at the Philippine Rice Research Institute, or PhilRISE. So everybody, let's give a big round of applause to our first outstanding alumnus, Dr. Karen Eloisa Magor.
Good afternoon. I'd like to start by saying thank you to the UPLB Devcom family for the recognition. You see, yesterday I was noting ang ganda ng distribution ng awardees ng Devcom. You had awardees or the finest of Devcom from different fields, not unlike others. You had one from the NGO, meron po from government sector, there's also from the academy. That makes it very interesting and well thought of. Maraming salamat po. And another was the distribution of the ages. Kahit ako yung medyo not so young, there were so many young awardees. And that makes it also very good because when you have the young awardees, that affirms what you're doing. So si Duday at si Radel, no? It affirms them and they can do more with the remaining ilang years pa ng inyong buhay. And we're talking about that. Do you know sa fingers nyo, you can plan your life? I got this from a church in a pastor from Australia when I was there. Sabi niya, it's all in your fingers. Can I have a glass of water? Usually daw 70 years old no, for Filipinos. So, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Give it 10 years each. So 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70. And you can see your life in the 1 week, not in the 7 fingers that you have. That's how I've been looking at my life now. So nasa na ako kung ako yung 50 na ako eh. I'm at the Friday of my life. Friday of my life. So magbilang-bilang na kayo. But sabi ko nga, mas maganda mag-start sa 20, 30, 40, 50, 60. And then you get the 70 and 80 of your life as a bonus these days. So try to think of life that way and you'll see and you'll have a better visual of how life can be with you as a Devcom practitioners. And I'd have 2 key messages for today. And the first would be to be innovative with a purpose. That's all my learnings in Devcom. And second would be having a strong sense of mission. And I think that's what I emphasize in the article. In the first years of my life as a Devcom practitioner, that was with, of course, Phil Rice, Philippine Rice Research Institute. My story is not complete without Phil Rice. Phil Rice has been nung naubos ang kabataan namin ni Roger. Roger is my husband, he's here. Primary source siya ng Devcom technology. He's also an award before. So, nung first years that we were starting Devcom at Phil Rice, kami mga pioneer staff eh. So government, so you can imagine how many years I've been in the government service. That's basically 30 years now. I graduated in 1986 and now it's 2016. I'm a jubilarian, so 30 years na in government service. Wala namang masyadong regrets. I think I joined a government agency which has very good standards and there we practiced Devcom, I think, to the hill. No? And I would always remember the primer written by Dr. Nora Quebral. Meron siyang isang sinabi doon that really stuck with me. No? Sabi niya, your skills are just that. Tools lang yan. Don't get stuck with your skills. Your skills should be your foundation. No? Yung puhunan nyo to bring you up in the ladders of success or whatever. But that kept me. Kasi nakita ko, may mga colleagues din ako na start sa pagiging photographer, up to now, may photographer pa rin. So it's something that you have to just use as your source of things to do in the future. Okay? So at Devcom, I think you can see there are many Devcom practitioners who were given different and challenging positions. So Phil Rice, you will see the Devcom people becoming, si Roger is actually currently Deputy Director for Administration. Devcom yan. We also had a Devcom na nag-lead ng isang hybrid rice commercialization project. There's one who eventually, I led the technology promotion program of Devcom. And that's how we were at Devcom. We tried to move out from the skills thing or skills staff of Devcom. And that's where we made the difference. And basically, I'm having some permanent changes na pasensya na. Basically, when I started Devcom, it was really on the issue of video or on the topic of videos. At sa videos na yun, I made changes on how to use video. I think it stemmed from my master's thesis pa dito. When I had as my thesis the story video technique. And from then on, I would use video in different ways. I had it to produce an interactive learning video which was multiplied for all the extension workers in government service. So, umabot sa point na yung mga extension worker would come to me, they would have their VHS pa na ano, and would tell me, Ma'am, gas-gas na yung video ko. We want more copies of this thing that you're doing. So those are the things that come with that, come with the innovativeness of the tools that you have. You know? Kasi pwede namang nag-document na ako. I mean, I settled for documentation. But I did more than that, and I said something's missing in extension. So what I did was to really think what was missing. I was really explaining the whys and the principles that you do. Kasi kalimitan pag nag-extension ka, you just say how-tos. I said explain the whys. And that was the difference in the video. And it was used as a tool by extension workers because at that time, yung mga extension workers, wala rin masyadong tools. And there are so many of them, wala silang tools masyado. So you can imagine how things are in the field when it comes to technology dissemination. And then also from the video, yun yung naggawa kami ng mga databases. And that was something that we improved things in the production of Devcom sa amin sa PhilRise. And from there, nag-jump na yung mga work namin. Basically, ang reason for the impact were really innovations that we did with a purpose. Okay? So, what are these work? I would remember the rice garden. If you've been to Luneta, have you been to Luneta? Di ba ang problema ngayon? Rice is very common, but they don't, it's not really known how it's grown. Okay. So if you go to Luneta, opposite of Manila Hotel, you have a rice garden there. And that's how we reached out to the urban sectors, to the urban people, and the urban children specifically. And we've reached, I think, how many schools na since it started? Siguro mga 20 schools, 20 elementary students who have, 20 elementary schools who have been to that place to learn more about rice. So that's one innovation we did, which I led. And then our magazine. Ngayon, I think when you start your work, you will most likely start with magazines. No? Magazines ang unang puntahan ng Devcom. And it doesn't end there. You have to really make a difference. So what we did was to make it really a magazine, not a corporate type of magazine. And we ended up becoming a Hall of Famer in the agriculture field of the Department of Agriculture. I mean, promoting the science of rice. Then we had the hybrid rice campaign. Doon naman po, what I did was really to study how the private sector would do their campaigns. Kaya nung hybrid rice campaign namin, you would see a lot of things like yung sa simpleng mga daan sa buhay, yung tricycle sa Nueva Ecija, napakarami. And I would see the tarpaulins of the private sector na nakasabit sa mga tricycles. Sabi ko, why don't we do that for rice? So we had that promotion in terms of hybrid rice campaign. And then the last was with Palay Tandaan and Palay Check. I think if you're familiar with the rice production stuff at the DA, yung Palay Check was started at PhilRise, and I was the lead there with another scientist. We worked together and we had a Palay Check, which is a more targeted form of production. And eventually it was outscaled, adopted by the Department of Agriculture. So that's how things evolve when we do things at PhilRise. Now that I'm 50, binawasan pa yun, no? Now that I'm 50, nag-change na, no? It's really still a case of innovativeness, but now it's having a strong sense of mission. Alam ko, it's always emphasized on Devcom to be purposive in your communication. But it takes years when you have these things para talagang maano mo yung mission mo in life. And I'm actually very busy now doing the project reinvigorating the extension system in the Philippines on agricultural extension. And I do a lot of mentoring and coaching to the extension intermediaries. Kasi lahat sila, imagine we have 2.5 million farmers and the full-time extension workers sa rice is only 2,500. So that means there's 1:1,000. Kaya hindi po makarating ang mga technologies sa ano. And that's why we have ICTs now, etc. But that's how it is in the Philippine agricultural extension system. So what we do now, and they are demotivated, no? Alam niyo yung nangyari sa devolution. And we have to try to patch things up sa situation. We try to reach with local government units, get their mga performing extension workers and try to involve them in a 4-month course which we have called Enabling the Agri-Doc and Building of Extension Workers. Agri-Doc is what we're trying to call them now. Nag-branding kami. No? Nag-branding ako. Sabi ko, hindi po pwedeng ginago natin ang ating extension people. And then they would say Agri-Doc works agricultural officers. So you call them now officers, not workers, extension workers. And this is a new breed because they are the ones who undergo transformational leadership. And we emphasize now not the transmission process, but the transformation of a community. Kasi ano ba nangyayari? Usually when you're an extension person, the role really is you have the technology and your purpose is just to bring it. But if you have a community mindset, a transformational mindset, you think of things in the context of a community. I am a player here. I have to work with a community and I have to help the farmers or the farming community as a whole. Hindi po pwedeng ibibigay ko ng technology and goodbye. So that's from transmission to transformation. And that's one thing that's keeping us busy. And we know that that work involved a lot of changes in the curriculum of Devcom, of the Agri-Doc. When usually we would try to start a training sa what rice is, or the rice industry. No, we don't start it that way now. We've started with the framework of transformational leadership. So that when they do their science and technology, they already have the right mindset. Okay? You don't transfer the information, etc., just for the sake of transferring it, but we have a purpose, a higher purpose. And that's the strengthening of the sense of mission that we're trying to do now with a new breed of extension workers. And it's really basically touching the heart. I think these days you can't do things not just the science and technology. You have to touch the heart of people. You've got to have stories, narratives. And that's what we're doing now. Those are the changes we're incorporating to reinvigorate extension system. But what ties both what I've said earlier, being innovative with a purpose, and the other one is having a strong sense of mission. It's really having someone higher in all this. And I think I will be, if I don't say that, the story is incomplete. Basically, it's really having God, having that purpose, a higher source of all their work. So still what puts things together as a development community. I have always a prayer when I do things. I say, teach me, Lord, and instruct me in the way I should go. Counsel me and watch over me. And you will see that He can do immeasurably more than you ask for or imagine according to His power at work within you. That's basically the story of my life as a Devcom practitioner. Maraming salamat po.
Thank you very much, Dr. Karen Baroga, the 2016 CDC Distinguished Alumna in Agriculture, Extension, and Communication.
Thanks, ma'am. I really like the idea of what she said a while ago. I mean, a new framework. No? It's not just about transferring technology, but transforming a community.
You always keep your purpose in mind. Hindi lang basta transmit ng information.
Exactly. And having a strong sense of mission.
Yes. Okay, so just to say it again, we are on live stream, so hello sa mga nanonood sa livestream at the URL bit.ly/cdcaa116.
Siyempre, marami siguro tayong napulot, no, or nakuha from the lecture a while ago from the sharing, at marami na nag-tweet at nag-post sa kanilang social media. So again, don't forget to use the hashtag CDCAA2016. Again, that's CDC 2016, CDCAA 2016.
Ayun. And by the way, aside from the live stream, we are also recording the video, syempre, to have the lectures as part of the knowledge resources of the college. So in the future, baka mapanood dito sa mga iba't ibang classes ng Devcom. Okay, so moving on with our second speaker. She graduated BS Development Communication, major in Development Journalism, cum laude.
And for her postgraduate, she finished Master of Arts in International Affairs at the Ohio University.
So among her major accomplishments, she has done work in advocacy, communication, and public awareness in several countries like Malaysia, Vietnam, US, and Zimbabwe.
She also served as a communications and public awareness specialist of the Coastal and Marine Resources Management in the Coral Triangle, a Southeast Asia project of the Asian Development Bank.
Yes, and currently she is a knowledge management and communication specialist at the Pacific Rim Innovation and Management Exponents Incorporated, where she is designing and implementing communication strategies and developing knowledge products. So everybody, let's have a big round of applause for our second speaker, Ms. Lourdes Margarita Caballero.
Good afternoon, mentors, colleagues, friends, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much for this opportunity to share with you. I'm humbled because I know my contribution in knowledge management for development is very, very small. And as Isaac Newton said, if I have seen further, it's because I have stood on the shoulders of giants from development communication. So I share this recognition to all my mentors, my peers, and my friends. For if you have not challenged me, I would not have been as motivated to dive deeper into the vast ocean of truth that lay before me. In the past 5 years, my work as a development communicator has focused on the Coral Triangle. The Coral Triangle is one of the most beautiful places on Earth. It is the Amazon of the seas and the center of marine biodiversity. And the great thing is that we are right in the middle of it. The Coral Triangle spans 6 countries covering Indonesia, Malaysia, Philippines, Papua New Guinea, Solomon Islands, and Timor-Leste. It is home to 6 of the 7 marine turtle species and over 2,000 coral reef fishes. I took this for granted because my dream destination used to be limited to the architectural wonders of the Western world. One day, I was lured by a photograph of George Tapan of Olok Island in Balabac, Palawan. I think Sir Roman knows about this place. His photo won a National Geographic contest, and it was described as a girl in pink and a man on a boat in a wide panorama under a rainbow that stands between the clear green waters and the blue skies. His photo bested 20,000 entries from 130 countries. And I imagined myself as the girl in pink, and I was ready to brave all hardship to reach paradise. It did help that Balabac, Palawan is one of our project sites in CTI, Southeast Asia. It is part of the Marine Turtle Migration Corridor, and we have been working with the local government and the Malbog indigenous people to set up a marine protected area in the island. Last year, I finally had a chance to visit Balabac and the famous Olok Island. The water reflected 3 kinds of blue, and when you look at my Facebook cover page, that's it. No filter, 3 kinds of blue. And when you look at the bangka, the water underneath the bangka, we saw the corals, and it was beautiful. The most glorious part was when one of the fishermen brought an adult turtle by the beach so that we can meet it face to face. This moment of discovery, when you're able to connect with what you are trying to protect, was a divine experience. This was the creature that many people are killing, trading, selling, and eating. But when we see it alive, it is a transformative experience. So I urge all of you, especially those of you who want to go into environmental communication and education, to get as close to your subject as much as possible so that you can understand and appreciate them in their natural environment. If you love turtles or any other creature for that matter, you have to do everything in your power to deeply know them, their value, what harms them, and what we can do to save them. We become more effective development communicators when we know our subject well. We have to remember that it is not enough to investigate the world from the comfort of our dorm rooms. And we have to go out there to form deep relationships with the creatures and the people that we are trying to fight for. But what's better than meeting a turtle from the Coral Triangle face to face? What's better than that is meeting teenagers like you who have used the power of their stories to share the beauty of their coastal communities and to warn readers about the consequences of ignoring the planet's well-being. Elna Basala is one of the 10 authors of the book Tales from the Coral Triangle. She is one of the public high school students from Balabac, Taytay, and Aborlan in Palawan who joined our story writing contest in 2014. She is the daughter of a Malboag indigenous fisherman, and her mother is a homemaker from Cagayan tribe. She mustered the guts to write about her life, which she described as very hard, but they have been accustomed to toiling like carabaos. In her story, Elna wondered where her father, a revered member of their community, was getting an abundant catch of fish since they were just a poor fishing family. One day, she discovered that he was indeed using dynamite to catch fish when she got news that her father's hand was blasted by a dynamite during a fishing trip. This paved the way for him to mend his ways and to return to legal fishing methods and venture into seaweed farming instead. The story, which was written in simple and direct Filipino, helped me understand that there was a gap in existing environmental projects, including ours. And what was the gap? We have been encouraging them to report illegal fishing activities, but we never thought about the dilemma they were facing if they have to report their own parents and friends because they were breaking the law. It was a humbling experience to learn this truth from a simple story of a young person like Elna. I learned that communication strategies that we designed are far from perfect. There are gaps that we do not see from where we stand, but if we make more effort to listen and engage those who are often ignored, then we can create more effective processes that address blind spots. The key is for us Devcom practitioners to be astute listeners and champions of participatory processes. Because at the end, our goal is not just to inform, but to involve people in their quest for change. In Ellen's case, the journey has just started with her story. She said that writing is hard, but it has helped her in a big way because it has awakened her eyes to the truth that material wealth is empty if it will be gained at the cost of precious lives. So the next time you think of the Coral Triangle, I urge you to go beyond the beauty of a touristy photo. Because what's better than a photo is the chance to meet a turtle. And what's better than meeting a turtle is the chance to discover a story and to engage with a hero. So thank thank you very much. And before I end, I would like to show you the book trailer that we prepared for the Tales from the Coral Triangle. We had to fight tooth and nail for this to get published by a very conservative bank. And it's the first time, I think, that they have produced a storybook since they are known for presenting economic reports. So if you think about it, this story, as what Ms. Karen has said, is important because we don't just need science to save the world, but we also need stories.
Thank you very much, Ms. Duday Caballero.
Yes, Ms. Duday Caballero, our 2016 CDC Distinguished Alumna in Knowledge Management for Development.
Yes. Okay, so very inspiring din yung kanyang naging experience, and it was interesting to note na she also told us what inspired her then
Exactly.
in the process of practicing development.
When was the book published, ma'am, if I may ask? When was the book? Just last
This September.
last month.
Congratulations.
Congratulations, ma'am.
So hopefully madaming ma-inspire din ng mga bata in reading that book. Ayun. So let's move on to our third speaker. Okay. He finished his undergraduate education at Hasanuddin University in Makassar, Indonesia.
He finished his MS and PhD in Development Communication here at UPLB.
And among his major accomplishments as a former dean of the Faculty of Social and Political Sciences in Hasanuddin University from 2002 to 2006.
And he was also the former director of the Institute of Research and Community Services in Hasanuddin University from 2006 to 2012.
And at present, he is a professor of communication and serves as an assessor of the National Accreditation Board of Higher Education in the Republic of Indonesia. So everyone, let's give a big round of applause to our 2016 CDC Distinguished Alumnus in Communication Education, Dr. Hafid Changara.
I just prepared my speech last night, but the PowerPoint I prepared 1 month. Good afternoon, everybody. Magandang hapon sa lahat. First of all, I would like to say thank you very much for electing us as a distinguished alumni of Standing of our University of the Philippines. I will say and honoring to take the idea for the awardee, specifically the Dean of CDC, University of the Philippines, Dr. Velasco, and Dr. Dr. Suba, and also my classmate before, Dr. David Law. This is today, I think, Assistant Professor of Radio. Yes. Actually, I attended this event not only receive outstanding CDC alumni, but it is also to recall our memory. 20 years ago, balikbayan na tayo. I lived in the Philippines. Was born in 1995, more than 21 years ago. And when I was landed in Hanoi, Aquino Airport, International Airport, on Friday morning. And so many progress before there's only one terminal airport, but today there are three already. When I was in Alabang, I asked to the driver who picked me up, there is a halo-halo dito? Because it's my experience, if ride a bus, we have to transfer to another bus because the bus is going to Sena. And we waiting a bus to pass the Cadiz Green to Santa Cruz and San Pablo. So we wait in the bus and while we drink halo. In Calamba, there's many ihaw. When I was a student, I sometimes go there with my friend to practice sing the Filipino song. At this time, the most popular singer is Saigon, Lea Salonga, and Freddy Aguilar. Eh, So, bakit labis na mahal kita? Mula na nakilala aking mahal. And di mahal-mahal kita. When we pass the Calamba, there's many people before taking the bath in the beer, trying line. But today I don't find more. It's pretty clean. In Los Baños, I saw so many progress, particularly new building was constructed. It means many people here in Los Baños getting rich. No more Tamaro. I still remember Tamaro. Today there's many Toyota, Ford, Mitsubishi, Pajero, etc. It's a one indicator of you are rich already. Now there's also many big restaurants like Kulbi, McDonald's, KFC, etc. and new hospital already become bigger already. In the past of crossing, we find many coconut shell there and sometimes spend much time to observe how the Filipino to make the buko and through the Carabao pond and all outside of Sakri and it's very fantastic. Still like bomb. Like you can find in the another way, another place. I was looking for a big supermarket one. Wala na eh. The behind of every supermarket, there's cinema theater before. But today no more. Maybe because you took a revolution here. I always there watch film and by movie star, Vilma Santos and Gary Consumption. This is very formula. Yeah? And this all men at this I think still remember. If parents say that only 50 years old, I 65 already. 64 already. Uh, According to Dr. Flor, the husband of Dr. Binti, Vilma Santos was already as a governor of Batangas. Yeah? And Sharon Cuneta is the most popular before. Yes. This is almost a singer. Right? Now she become a student of the University of the Philippines. I still remember this. Enter the UPLB campus. There are also some new building was constructed, more beautiful view, and jeepney become follow the regulation and stop at the yellow line. The before Christmas. Yesterday I was ride jeepney and still remember somewhat Bayat, Labasco, and Para and Palanque. Uh, I like to sit in the back of the driver. Why? Because everybody give me money, 7 peso, and touch my hand. So you can imagine if undergraduate student touch my hand. It's very mainit na. Next, I want to become my all my memory in the class. I still remember Dr. Supa. It's a special topic. Special topic is a statistic. So hard to understand because the theorem is very different. Like root, the basic, plus, logarithm, etc. It's very different social science term. So I try to bring statistic book Indonesian with Indonesian language. So Dr. Supa find and angry to me. He say, how do you improve your English if you bring to Indonesian book? And he said that not is because it's very difficult to understand statistics in the term. It's a different in social science. Other professor, I think, Dr. Tony Moran, pogi talaga niya. That's why many students go like to pass his office just to see Dr. Moran. Dr. Moran teach advanced communication tech theory. I talked Dr. Gomez before. I think I'm not familiar with Dr. Gomez. Dr. Gomez. My advisor, that I saw that it is hard for him to understand what Dr. Moran said. Dr. Gomez told me that you are foreigner. Even Filipino itself cannot understand what he say. Why? Because Dr. Moran always talk about like philosopher, Aristotle and Plato. I think Dr. Moran talk today is critical theory, Habermas, and discourse analysis. What Dr. Moran said before, it is important to learn today. Finally, before I present my report, I think I prepare already. I would like to say again, thank you very much to all the professors, to administrative staff, to help me during study here. However, I have not become a school professor in education, communication education, a vice dean of graduate school, dean of faculty of social science, and director of research and community services from Matanudi University, and resource person and minister of communication and information, and research person and the board of national planning and member of national accreditation of Indonesian higher education without your help. A proud as alumni of CDC UPLC. For Devcom students, I want to give you some tips in order to succeed in your life as a communicator. The first, how to write. The second is how to speak. And the last, more important, how to smile. Thank you very much. So, 20 years. Picture this. He going to the window island. Three, five. From the Nepalese. Okay. Next. Why this my dog? Janka dog. When I defend my dissertation, it's Dr. Gomez, the doctor, and also Dr. like Beck, Dr. Law, and the next. The lady beside Dr. Law is now his position as a president of university, graduate from Philippines. Yes. She graduated from Ateneo de Manila. Yes. This is a beautiful situation. And this is a graduation day. This is a Dr. Librero. This, this is Dr. Stuart and the late Professor Dr. Hanyas. I don't forget this because I learn much from him, particularly such reporting. And the next, yes. I will just to present this, the use of media communication for eliminating illiteracy in South Sulawesi, Indonesia. The picture on the back is my university, Hasanuddin University, located in Makassar, South Sulawesi, Indonesia, under Mindanao Island. Thanks. There's a number of 205 millions and distribution of labor. There's in Sumatra 45. And Kalimantan Borneo 12 million, and Sulawesi is 15, and Java is a populated density 130 million people there stay there, living there, and another area Bali and Nusa Tenggara it is 11 million, and Papua or 8 million. Now, this is a community student service program. First, we will meet the village's chief or the barangay captain. Next, the students are divided into many groups. They were taken to the villages by bus. And students began dispersed in many locations and flew by boat. Sometimes by boat, like this. So, very dangerous, no? And stay in the village head of home and barangay head, barangay captain. This is model of traditional houses in South Sulawesi, Indonesia. Now, prepare media and communication material learning like this. It's just very simple. Instructional video we prepare how to read and how to write and how to counting. Instructional video we prepare and visited learner at the afternoon because most the farmer working in the day and until the afternoon, so we just visit in the afternoon and in the evening. Or after prayer in the mosque, you see the study of the under the room form. Use next. Okay. Study the using the tray instead of the whiteboard. Masarap na talaga. Next. Grandchildren sooner spoken than their grandfather. We go to style. Adolescent girl come to learn. Sabi ni electricity, cheating is inevitable. Elementary school as a place of learning, studying in any place, writing, how to write, how to read, keep their company. Nah, when I asked them, why you want to study about literacy? Today, I joined eliminating literacy program because I want to learn how to send SMS. They can use telephone, but he cannot use how to send SMS. So I propose that no need to other communication material. We change it to the telephone. This is enough how to learn and introduce our technology for eliminating literacy. Thank you. Started. Students have other activities in the framework of Independence Day. Sport activity, student educational background in agriculture. Yes. Right. This is a communicator, development communicator. Right? Right. Okay. Student educational background in medicine. Because there's a extension worker. Monitoring. Right. That's the house of the student style. Conclusion. The reduction rate of illiteracy during program elementary. The main problem, the official government agencies sometimes to a large percentage number of population literacy rate. It means the percentage becomes smaller, they will not get money. Yes. The worry program to eliminate illiteracy no more and corruption. They said to them, don't be worried, after the end of this program, new issues will appear like empowerment of human resource development. Next. Education development communicator, go to the people, live with them, learn from them, love them, start with what they know, deal with what they have, those are 300 years before. Okay? Back to campus, Hore, Sulawesi yang indah, Sulawesi magandang salamat po. Thank you.
And Sulawesi, young in that to you, sir. Thank you for sharing with us.
So it was very interesting to hear about the different experiences of Sir Hafid in here in the Philippines and also in Indonesia.
It's also quite, it came as a surprise to see that the chairs you used back then were still the same chairs we used today. Yeah.
And it was very interesting for me to see the ways that they adapted to their situation there creatively, using the plate as your whiteboard.
Yes, exactly. Very resourceful. And
using SNS as your motivator for your students. So very interesting. Okay, so again, let's greet our viewers on live streaming through the URL bit.ly/cbcaa2016.
And again, kung meron na kayong photos or posts sa social media, don't forget to use the hashtag CBCAA2016.
Okay, so let's have a short break first from the different inspiring talks. We have a few members of the Student Council, the Devcom Student Council, who will be performing a special song number. So may we call on Ms. Mario Chico, the CBCSE chairperson,
Chico Emmanuel Carmona, CBCSE counselor,
and Cherry Winkle Lego, CBCSE counselor.
So I'll give them a big round of applause.
So, good afternoon. So, we are from the College of Development Communication Student Council. I am Chico Carmona. This is Cherry Winkle or Winky Lego, and our chairperson, Mariel Chico. So, good afternoon again. As you can see, we will be performing a dance number. Just kidding. So, we will be singing. So, we will be singing, and we hope you like our performance. But disclaimer, we are not good singers. So, but still, please enjoy our performance. Thank you. Social we family. I don't know where we belong. I don't know where I went wrong. I can write a song. I belong with you. You belong with my sweet home. I belong with you. You belong with my sweet home. I don't think you're left behind. To go out in my bed. You must be shy to tell. Standing under now. I'm free. Standing next to me. I belong with you. You belong with my sweet heart. I belong with you. You belong with my sweet heart. Love, waiting now. Let's go for some. Let's go. We're leaving out. I belong with you. You belong with you. My sweet heart. I belong with you. You belong with my sweet heart. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, CDC Student Council for your very inspired number.
Yes, talented, not just good communicators, but also very talented.
Yun naman talaga kapag Devcom, diba? O kahit sa ano, pwedeng isabak, go na go lang talaga.
Okay,
So, ang next part ng program natin, but before that, no, live din tayo on Facebook, no? Tapos sa website ng Devcom, may link doon kung saan pwede pa mag-tune in yung mga friends natin or fellow alumni na nanonood sa kanilang mga tahanan.
Okay. So now we are now presenting the new AVP of the College of Development Communication.
Meron pala tayong bagong ihapon yung AVP.
Yes, 9 years. The last one was 9 years ago.
9 years ago, so chanty pa ako noon. Oo, tama. Nung may last ng AVP.
Yes, and since then, marami nang nangyari sa institution na ito.
Ano ba ang mga pagbabago na meron, ma'am?
Well, 3 times lang naman na naging Chair of Center of Excellence Devcom.
Wow!
Since past 9 years. And it's also accredited by the ASEAN University Network. So, ito na yung makikita sa bagong AVP ito.
Tapos generalist na rin yung curriculum natin, ma'am.
Yes. So, that's a big change from the old curriculum.
Excited na ba tayong lahat? Yes! So tayo actually yung first viewer nitong AVP na to. It hasn't been shown
This
sa
is a
any
premiere show.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's watch it.
Molding young minds through new knowledge, sharing our expertise. This is what we do at the UP Los Baños College of Development Communication. The College of Development Communication, or CDC, is home to a vibrant community of learners and educators. As the first institution to offer curricular programs in Devcom, we are the world's pioneer in the field. Our history spans half a century, from a service unit in the 50s to a department offering agricultural communication in the 60s. In the 70s, Dr. Nora C. Cabral articulated the concept of development communication in her seminal paper. Eventually, we became the Department of Development Communication. The department grew into an institute in the 80s and into a full-fledged college in the 90s. Over half a century, CDC has transformed itself from a small service unit into an international center of excellence in development communication. CDC is the world's only academic institution that offers Bachelor of Science, Master of Science, and Doctor of Philosophy programs in Devcom. Our BS Devcom program follows a generalist curriculum. We equip our undergraduates with knowledge and skills in 4 key competencies. These are media-based learning systems, reportage, multimedia design, production and management and communication of technical information. On the other hand, our MS and PhD programs provide graduate students a more solid grounding on Devcom theory and practice. Through these curricular offerings, we train our students to apply communication theories, principles, and techniques, enabling them to become advocates of social change. As a college of a national research university, we spearhead research efforts in Devcom in line with the university's growth areas, niches, and transdisciplinary programs. Our research and extension agenda focuses on current issues that matter. We communicate the knowledge we have generated through publications, foremost of which is the Philippine Journal of Development Communication. As a testament to the college's quality of research, our staff and students regularly present their papers in various national and international conferences. These activities play a crucial role in building up knowledge on the science, theory, and practice of Devcom. CDC balances scholarly work and practice by extending its expertise through partnerships with various stakeholders. The college is home to Radyo DZLB, which airs development-oriented programs to a large part of Calabarzon. Meanwhile, CDC regularly publishes the Los Baños Times, a community newspaper that serves Los Baños and nearby communities. We have also recently ventured into TV production with Dito sa Laguna, a discussion program aired on the community cable Vision Corporation. Through the Adopt a School program, CDC helps improve the teaching and learning process in selected public elementary schools. Aside from these in-house programs, our experience of more than 50 years has enabled us to render numerous public service initiatives. All in all, our extension activities are geared toward providing Devcom services to the community through various communication approaches and media. The college continues to upgrade its facilities to provide students with the intensive training on the interface of various communication media. More notably, we have upgraded some of our classrooms into multimedia laboratories. Through these facilities, Our students are able to build up a competent portfolio of Devcom outputs, which they prepare in coordination with partner agencies and communities. Meanwhile, our student organizations hold relevant Devcom-oriented activities for the college, university, and select communities. With the rigorous training we provide our students, it is no surprise that many of our alumni have made significant contributions in their respective fields. As a matter of fact, the Commission on Higher Education has recognized us 3 times as a center of excellence for our distinctive efforts in Devcom instruction, research, and extension. Moreover, our BS Devcom program passed the ASEAN University Network Quality Assurance Accreditation. This means the program adheres to international standards and is at par with similar programs offered by other leading ASEAN universities. Such recognition all the more fuels our pursuit for distinctive excellence as we continue to study and practice development communication. Molding young minds, creating new knowledge, sharing our expertise. Welcome to the College of Development Communication.
Of course, we would like to acknowledge the members of the production team of that AVP. Of course, our Dean, the Executive Producer, Dean Maria Teresa H. Velasco, Mr. Romeo C. Estimado, Tito Aga, Mr. Mario B. Maninas,
April Midway Moscoso, Mr. Joseph Lidio Robles, and Assistant Professor Ricardo Villar.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Ang bilis magtrabaho yung last teacher kanina umaga lang.
Same day edit, ha? Okay, so again,
Sige na, panood din siya siguro malamang ng mga nanonood dun sa live streaming natin. So again, we would like to greet you guys hello and please tune in to bit.ly/CDCAA2016 for the live stream. Live din tayo on Facebook, sa ating YouTube channel, at sa ating website din.
and yung mga nag-tweet and nagpo-post ng photos, please continue using the hashtag CDCAA2016.
Of course, Sir Aldo din. Of course, we would like to thank Sir Aldo for...
So moving on with the second part of our inspirational talks, our fourth speaker graduated BS Development Communication, major in Science Communication, cum laude.
And he finished his postgraduate degree of MS in Environmental Science, also in UPLB, and a recipient of UPLB Graduate School Academic Achievement Award for obtaining the second highest general weighted average, 1.08, among the graduating class. How to be you po, di ba?
Okay, among his major accomplishments, he has been involved in several international projects on environmental science, like the Earth Our City Challenge.
And his most recent talk was during the 7th Resilient Cities Congress held in Bonn, Germany in July 2016.
And at present, he is a regional program manager of ICLEI, Local Governments for Sustainability, Southeast Asia Secretariat. So everybody, let's all welcome our 2016 CDC Distinguished Alumnus in Climate Change and Integrated Resources Management, Mr. Ranel Martin Dedicatore.
Can you hear me? Okay. It felt good to be speaking after watching the AVP because, well, I'm banking on the students' energy. And at the same time, it reminded me a lot of the Devcom memories. It's been 10 years, so Pero naalala ko pa din while, the time na nakaupo ako dito. And it's kind of nerve-wracking to be speaking in front of a number of my former mentors and instructors, actually. Okay, so before I start, I would like to ask, who among you are graduating next sem? Meron ba? Graduating this sem or next sem? Okay, so, next question. And even if you're not graduating, feel free to raise your hand. Who among you have thought of what you're going to do after graduation? Okay, meron na ba? Meron bang napag-isip-isip na or nag-reflect na on what you're going to do after they graduate? Okay, so let me tell you, it's okay. It's okay if hindi pa. Because 10 years ago, actually, it's literally 10 years ago, I was actually hindi Octoberian. But I graduated first sem dun sa former academic year. And I think kami lang yung batch na may November na month. Because we graduated at the year, on last 2006 and it was the time na nag-milenyo. So, LD was devastated back then, parang nagkaroon pa ng 1 week na nag-close ang campus to rehabilitate. So, yung nakalagay sa aming transcript ay November 2006 ang date of graduation. So, I think kami lang yun. Anyway, back then, I didn't know what I was going to do after I graduate. Ano yung path na isa-pursue ko. And never did I think na after 10 years, I would be speaking in front of this new batch of Devcom students. Basically discussing kung ano yung ginagawa ko ngayon. So as I was introduced, I'm currently the Regional Program Manager of ICLAY, Local Governments for Sustainability. So in the interest of Devcom, we defined yung acronym na ICLAY. ICLAY stands for International Council for Local Environment Initiatives. Pero we no longer use the acronym. So we are simply referred to now as ICLAY, Local Governments for Sustainability. Because we kind of broadened the mandate beginning from environment, ngayon yung broader issue of sustainability na yung na-address namin. So, basically, ICLAY is a global network of local governments committed to sustainable development. And our headquarters is in Bonn, Germany. But ako, I work at the Southeast Asia Secretariat and we are headquartered at the Manila Observatory in Ateneo. So, as Regional Program Manager, I am basically in charge of overseeing and handling the climate change and the integrated resource management portfolio of the organization. So, as sabi dun sa isang management book na nabasa ko, management is something you do and it's not something you read about or something you learn through classroom setting. However, for the purposes of my talk today, I would try to describe to you 4 major tasks that I am doing sort of on an everyday basis as program manager and basically how my Devcom training prepared me to become a program manager. Okay? So, unang-una, one of the tasks that I do every day as program manager is I research. So, what do I research about? ICLAY's primary clientele are local governments. So, this includes cities, municipalities, and sometimes to some extent even barangays. But mostly it's really the cities. So, every day I try to learn about the process happening inside the local government. Basically kung paano yung planning nila pagka sa local government. How are their organizations structured? Who is doing what? So it's an everyday learning process because it's different from one local government to another. So for example, if you talk of a highly urbanized city, iba yung dynamics when you talk of a third-class municipality. And I think my training in Devcom, I have taken to heart one of its mantra. And I think familiar kayo dito. It's 3 words. Know your audience. Okay, so know your audience. And basically, kapag sinabi natin know your audience, you want to be able to share information that you would be able to use. So for example, if I'm talking about climate change, if I'm talking about climate projections, for example, sabihin natin na magkakaroon ng 2.8 increase in rainfall for the months of for example, July to August sa area na to. It doesn't matter kapag sinabi ko yung ganung information to someone na hindi naman talaga madadigest yung information na yun. So, I think and I believe that my training in Devcom has allowed me to process and package information in such a way that will be usable to the clients. So that's very important because you tailor fit the messages, you tailor fit the medium that you're going to use, depending kung sino yung audience mo. And that's very important. So, ngayon pa lang, I'm sure you were already trained, you were already exposed to developing different communication materials specifically designed for different types of audiences. So keep that in mind and make sure that when you go out there, dala niyo yung principle na yun. You have to think of the kind of information that would really benefit your stakeholder, your audience. Ayun. And basically, you may ask, how do you learn? It could be formal or informal. For me, I pursued graduate studies. I tried taking some online courses, but it could also be informal forms of learning. For example, when you're working as a research assistant, for example, upon graduation, and you attend meetings, so make sure you listen. Make sure you listen very well and take notes because sometimes a little piece of information will go a long way. Eventually, na-encounter mo ulit siya, so it pays to really take notes. And, hindi lang information in, information out. Retain them. And eventually, ma-realize nyo as you go along your professional career, magagamit nyo pala siya. Okay, so that's the first thing that I do mostly on a daily basis. I research. Second one, I strategize. So as program manager, I am expected to come up with work plans, the calendar of activities for multiple projects. So supposedly you are delegating tasks as well and ensuring that one project activity would not conflict with the other. So you are expected to anticipate possible problems, possible constraints, and if need be, ito troubleshoot nyo yung mga problems na mag-arise. And I believe that the training of Devcom allows you to understand the concept of strategic planning. So from the first time na nag-conduct ng expert interview or even MOS pa ba ang tawag ngayon? Man the street, sa Devcom 11, up to the time na mag-major na kayo, gagawa ng newsletter, gagawa ng radio blog, maggagawa ng exhibit, video project, up to the time na nag-Devcom 180 na kayo when you're applying everything and doing a communication plan. That entails strategic planning. That is very important. So to give you a specific example, we are currently working with the city of Santa Rosa. And one of the problems that they've identified is their problem on water. So groundwater extraction is very high in the city because of the presence of industries, so automotive, electronics, semiconductors. Ang dami-daming kumukuha ng tubig sa kanila, and they are worried that in the future, if this extraction remains unmonitored, they will suffer. The residents will suffer. So what we're trying to do now is we are creating a strategy to formalize a partnership between the city government and the national government. Because as it stands, yung policy natin at the national level does not really allow cities to monitor or to regulate and monitor groundwater extraction. So we are trying to formalize this partnership with the National Water Resources Board para mabigyan ng authority ng city to monitor the extraction and hopefully they would be able to abate yung problem of this unregulated extraction, unmonitored and unregulated extraction. So we term this activity as national-local dialogues, wherein we bring together two levels of governance, national and local, so that they understand each other and so that there is leveling off of the expectations of the tasks needed para ma-address yung issue, which is yung groundwater extraction. So that's two, researching and strategizing. So pangatlo, as program manager, I am expected to do a lot of networking. So networking is profiling the organization in terms of what we do to various stakeholders. So stakeholders can range from national governments, other NGOs, for example, na may synergy sa work namin, or even potential funding institutions which can provide funding to continue a certain project. So more than collecting business cards and keeping tabs, networking is about follow-ups. So kumbaga sa marketing, sabihin na natin na you have to be the first in mind. Kapag sinabi natin, halimbawa, gusto ko kapag sinabi na climate change for local governments, maisip yung play, maisip yung organization namin. So it's important to keep tabs, to keep networks. And I believe that we as Devcom graduates, as future Devcom graduates, Devcom practitioners, we have an edge because we are trained to relate with people. We know how to communicate, we know how to talk to people. So, edge na natin yun and bank on that. Use that to your advantage. And this brings me to my final point, yung pang-apat na ginagawa ko on an everyday basis, which I believe is very integral kung gusto nyo maging manager. Meron bang gustong maging manager dito? Gusto nyo bang maging manager sa mga? Or naisip nyo? Anyway, what I'd like to say is that as a manager, very important that you know how to communicate. Every day, I communicate a lot. I draft emails, I review reports, copy edit news and features to be uploaded sa website, and not just written communications. So, even the way you deal with your colleagues, the way you discuss issues with your supervisors, with your bosses, it matters a lot. Because if there is something you want done, then you have to be able to communicate it well. Otherwise, it's either you'll end up doing the job yourself, or wala talaga, magiging stagnant na lang yung action, yung task na yun. So how then would you know if you are an effective communicator? So let's go back to the basic. Kapag gumagawa tayo ng news, ano ba yung dapat natin ilagay sa lead? Usually, yun, 5 W's and 1 H. So when you're drafting an email, when you're drafting an email, when you're writing something, try to check na-address nyo ba yung question, yung 5 W's and 1 H. Again, pwedeng hindi lahat, but at least make sure to do that, to check. And you know it when you're able to generate the kind of information that you need in order to make your job easier. And at the same time, you're able to influence people to act towards a certain concern. So these four, basically, researching, strategizing, and communicating are part of my daily life as a case program manager. So again, some of you might choose the path of becoming a development worker and eventually becoming managers. Some of you may not. But I hope that I was able to motivate you to some extent to realize what Devcom can offer, what Devcom can help you become, if only you take to heart yung principles na itinuturo sa atin. In my case, I chose to communicate about climate change and integrated resource management for local governments. And I continuously to learn how to do it and how to go about it. And for me, I think it's 50% of the job as future Devcom practitioners to know what you want to communicate. So kanina tinanong ko kung naisip nyo na ba what you're going to do after you graduate. I think I will pose a question sa inyo na, or I will pose a challenge na isipin nyo na what do I want to communicate after leaving the halls of CDC. That's 50%. And if you ask the remaining 50%, it's knowing how to communicate. And thankfully, as Devcom students, binigay na ng CDC yung path na yun, yung 50% na yun. Because communication is very essential kahit saan trabaho kayo pumunta. And it's a matter of knowing how to do it well, knowing how to communicate effectively, that really matters. So, yung bachelor's degree program na binibigay ng CDC already provides a strong foundation for all of us. And again, hindi lang siya matter of applying it in your professional life. It's a matter of applying it in your everyday dealings as well. So, ayun. Sabi nga nila, di ba, in every relationship, communication is key. So, I'd like to end on that note, and if hindi kayo niniwala sa akin na communication is key sa kahit anong relationship, you can ask my wife. She's there. And she's also a Devcom graduate. Ayun. So, thank you very much. And
Thank you very much, Martin. Tanda ko pa ito sa
awkward.
moment.
Hindi naman. So, very nice yung tips niya on how to manage your life actually. Hindi mo kailangan magkaroon ng job title na manager. We can all start applying yung lahat ng principles na yun right now as students and as faculty also.
Yes, oo nga. May mga notes din ako kanina.
Yes.
So I can manage my life.
Correct.
Thank you, sir.
And our relationship.
Lahat po.
Okay, so now we are going to listen to our fifth and last speaker. Okay, she's a graduate of BS Development Communication, major in Development Journalism, and she finished her postgraduate studies MA in Development Policy at the De La Salle University.
Some of her major accomplishments include engaging in different local and foreign projects like the ASEAN Plus 3 Infectious Disease Program and the ASEAN ATB project on highly pathogenic avian influenza.
And during the outbreak of the Ebola virus in 2014 to 2015, she was the first WPRO staff to be deployed in Sierra Leone, where she led the risk communication activities of the World Health Organization. So currently, she is a technical officer for risk communication, Division of Health Security and Emergencies for the World Health Organization, Regional Office for the Western Pacific.
She provides technical support to member states in strengthening functional system for risk communication with the capacity to ensure proactive, timely, and trustworthy communication strategy for outbreaks and health emergencies.
So everybody, let's welcome the 2016 CDC Distinguished Alumna in Risk Communications and Public Health, and also the 2016 Outstanding UPLB Alumni Association Awardee, Ms. Joy
Rivaca.
Okay, so as I was saying, I have to make two confessions. First, I have to say that this is my first TED Talk. I haven't seen a TED Talk before, and my son had to make a lecture to me yesterday to see how a TED Talk is done. So please indulge me pag marami akong mga palpa. Second, I'm very nervous because I'm in front of our dean, Dr. Tere, and at the same time, I know that what I'll say to you today may have a little bit of impact in your life and the way you would do your career work. But first, and I have prepared a slide set for you actually. No, the first one. Okay, usually you gave me an award this year in the area of risk communication in public health. But I'm always asked the question, what is risk communication? We all heard about development communication, corporate communication, all sorts of paradigms related to communication. But what is risk communication? Let me start with a story. 2003. How many of you have heard SARS? SARS. Maybe you also have stories. Maybe you have experiences about SARS, either from the media, from the television. But let me emphasize that SARS was one great lesson in communication in public health. This is actually our entry point to communication in public health. If you can see, it was the first global outbreak to highlight the importance of communication. You see, it has number of cases, that number of deaths, but if you look at the economic loss, it was 60 billion US dollars for a few months. Why? Who wants to take a guess? Because countries affected by SARS thought that by not communicating, they are going to prevent the disease and they are not going to lose economically. And that basically busted all the belief systems in risk communication. And this is why we have now the paradigm in risk communication in public health. Okay? If you can see, we have major emergencies after SARS. You're very familiar with our super typhoon. You have MERS coronavirus, Ebola virus, and now we hear about Zika and complications. All these emergencies, I happen to be one of the first people deployed on the ground. Why? Because I'm a development communicator. Because I am a risk communication practitioner. And it's one of the things I want to impart with you, that we are trained as development communication practitioner, but the skills, the writing skills, all the attitudes and the values taught us in the university will send us places and will make us venture into other areas of work. Now, when I talk to member states, they ask me, why would we invest in risk communication? Why do we need it? The answer is every public health response intervention you do, you will only succeed or fail based on the way we communicate. O di ba panalo? Diba? Kahit anong gawin nila, magsara kayo ng airport, gamutin ninyo lahat ng victims. People will not care because if it's not communicated, it never happened. If it's not timely, walang kwenta yun. If it's not transparent, walang kwenta yun. And all of those characteristics of communication we all get by being engaged in this communication. Now, how did I apply Devcom in my work? Pasensya na kayo, narcissistic ako. So I'll send you all my pictures from the field. This is one of the Ebola response activities we did in Sierra Leone. People were already get tired of Ebola is this, Ebola is that. So we came up with a theater group, and that was basically a creative way of engaging the communities. I have to say, I did not think of it, I did not act on that, but it was the community who said, we want to do more in our community. So why do we have communication? I have to tell you, when my colleagues ask me, ano ba yung value ng risk communication doon? Risk communication, it saves lives. So tatandaan niyo yun, lahat ng tinuro sa atin, food security, environmental health, extension, one of the core values we have is communication can really save lives. These are the children from Solomon Islands. Pag napansin nyo, barren na yung lupa nila. I went there, third day of the biggest flash flood they had in 2013. 2013 din yung Yolanda natin, di ba? But we got all the attention from all over the world. Solomon Islands is the island in the Pacific with only 4 million people. Nobody cared. Pero buhay din yan eh. So you really have to help the communities, not because it's high profile, but because your mission is to help people and to help organizations and help governments and lives. So these children are basically some of the survivors of the flash flood because they got information or their parents got information on how to evacuate, where to go, and all that. So you knew maliit na information na yun would make a lot of difference in saving lives. Second, I have to tell you, Facebook, mahilig ako mag-post sa Facebook. So for this one, I decided to use Facebook friends just to give you a little bit of the story of the stuff I posted. This was the time I posted in 2014. This is a person, a girl, who survived Ebola. One of the first few survivors of Ebola. So tinanong ko siya, what made you survive? It's a story of survival. Sabi niya, because I drank water. Kasi pag nagka-Ebola ka, it's really hydration. I drank water. How did you know you have to drink water? Because that's what the community mobilizers told us to do. So I started drinking water. And second is prayer, which is good. So ito yung story ng how communication can help people really save their lives. So she is a story of survival. She has become my friend. And I'm just so happy that she survived. But that means it's not going to be paradise all her life. She will have challenges. But again, it's an example on how communication can save lives. But I have to warn you, it's not always a good story. 7 children. I always call them the 7 children of Kamara family. I visited them on my first week in Ebola, Sierra. And these children didn't know that their mother had died. She was the first nurse in the Ebola Treatment Center in Panama to get the symptoms of Ebola. The natural tendency of the mother is to go home and see your children, right? The mother had the wisdom not to go home. Namatay siya. Because going home and having her children would mean death for all of them. Nang pumunta ako sa kanila, the reason I visited them, that was the end of the 21-day quarantine. So that means the 7 children did not get Ebola. And that's one reason is because the mother had a heart to spare them the terrible possibility na magkasakit sila. Again, it's a function of communication to make sure that these kinds of victims of disasters and emergencies would also get the needed information and help. Okay, so that's about setting up. Second point, communication empowers decision making. We all heard about Zika, right? Zika. This is in Tonga. Tonga is one of the Pacific Island countries with Zika cases. It's also a country with only just 3 million people. They have 974 pregnant women. Bilang na bilang nila yung mga buntis. I don't think we can afford to count all the pregnant women in the communities. Sabi ng boss kong Nigerian, bawat community sa inyo may buntis. So, eto, Zika, as we all know, wala siyang sintomas eh. But you will never know kung meron ka. Pero ang maapektuhan, the babies developing inside the womb of a pregnant woman. So now, we are not telling the women not to get pregnant. It's not our business. But communication will enable them to make an informed decision. Magbubuntis ba ako o hindi? What should I do? So it's a kind of risk communication that you can tell people. You provide them the information so they can make a decision on what's good for them. This one, this is in Tacloban. This is just this year. Maraming namamatay sa diarrhea. So, nung nagpunta kami sa communities, sabi nila, oo, nagka-diarrhea yung anak ko, pero diarrhea na mo. It doesn't really matter. Every day or every year, nagkaka-diarrhea yung mga anak. Because of that complacency, they don't do the necessary advice. But as risk communication people, what do you do with that? Kasi mababa yung perception. So the perception of risk is very low. So what do you tell them? You spread the news that diarrhea can kill. Your children could possibly die from diarrhea. So this is a session we had with her because she was a mother na namatayan na ng dalawang anak. May 4 pa siyang anak, may kapitbahay pa siya, and she is in the middle of a diarrhea outbreak. Again, it's a trust of making sure that we enable the communities make decisions on what they do with their life. So now we're asking her, can we use your story to tell others that they will react to you? Next, communication is engagement with communities. Again, pasensya na kayo, mahilig ako sa Ebola. 11 months kasi ako ng Ebola. Nung naniniwala pa ka nung unang panahon ng Ebola, people thought that it's a curse. One of the reasons you're getting Ebola is because you're a bad person and you're cursed. We organized a meeting with all the traditional leaders and today for them to make a commitment. They agreed to a 12-point agenda on how they could contribute to preventing Ebola. Merong isa doon, we will help community in quarantine or families in quarantine by getting support. Pagtaas sila, Joy, if ganyan ang language mo, uwi na. Because we are not going to compromise our religion over Ebola. Ebola is only here for a short time. This year. Our religion has been here all our lives. So if you're telling us it's not a curse, nagkakamali ka, sumpayan. So you have 12 commitments that you're willing to do versus 1. zero mo yun. But you agree, you win 12 and you lose 1. And you go back later on to do more dialogue. But kung hindi namin alam yun, hindi tayo makakapagsimula ng dialogue. So as we move along, you tweak and you modify your messages and your engagement because now you have the feedback from the communities. Now, this is again in Solomon Islands. Sabi nila, diarrhea can be cured not by ORS, but by traditional, yung mga trunk ng kahoy. Okay, so what we did was we indulged them. Sige, puntahan natin yun. As long as the trunk is not harmful, actually dahil pinukulo nila yung tubig, andun yung dahon and they drink it, we just let it go because yun yung ano natin is trust building. So kung ganyan natin sila makukuha, as long as it doesn't do any more harm to the people, that's all right. So that's again the flexibility that goes with communication. Now, this is one of my favorite stories. It's sad, but it's my favorite. The last part of Ebola, patapos na yung laban eh. Nasa tail end na. There was a mom who gave birth to this baby. Sa umaga, the mom was tested. Kasi nanganak siya sa umaga. And the baby was okay, but the mother died. Ang protocol kasi pag Ebola is to test the person who died. So umaga, the laboratory people said negative. They retested it in the afternoon. It turned out to be positive. Kasalanan yun ng lab, ng laboratory. Pero sa community, wala silang pakialam kung lab ka, kung doktor ka, o ano ka. Lahat kayo aputo. That's how they call us mga foreigners. Lahat kayo aputo, so we don't care. How do you now tell the family that that baby is infectious? Kasi with Ebola, if you give birth to a baby, automatic may Ebola yan. But the tricky part with the baby is they don't exhibit symptoms. They just die. At namamatay sila in 40 seconds. Ngayon, buhay si baby. Ito yung kanyang grandma. You know, and this family, extended family yan eh. They have 48 people in one house. Paano sila natutulog? They say sometimes daw nag-rotation sila. So, ito yung head of the family. I was negotiating to release the baby. Sabi niya sa akin, over my dead body. So you can see the baby every day being passed on from one family member to the other at kasama tong 14 children. And you know, it's just a matter of time. So nasa labas ka ng quarantine kasi pag naka-quarantine ng bahay, may ganyan yan, orange. So pinapasa-pasa yung baby. It felt like a time bomb being passed around by family members. At alam naman natin, kinikis natin yung baby. But when the head of the family said, no. Well, and now you have the medical people pointing a thermometer at every member of the family to test the temperature. So meron ka ngayong disconnect. You want to be gentle kasi namatayan sila. Meron silang baby na orphan. Meron silang kailangan mong iprotektahan. And here comes the military, the medical people, trying to get them. So how would you communicate that? My role then was to negotiate for the baby. It took me 6 days. Pabalik-balik. Hindi niya ako ng cellphone. Hindi niya ako ibigay ko na lahat. And then later on, he decided, I will give you the baby. Pag nag-survive siya, sa'yo na yan. So I was asking him, bakit ganun? Nung unang araw, gusto mo magpakamatay, tapos gusto mo over my your dead body, tapos kayo ibigay. Because he knows the baby is going to die in 7 or 8 days. My instinct, I'm not getting the baby. Pero, mandate ng UNICEF, I was with UNICEF, this is better for me. So meron kami, 2 days after, the baby passed away. It was the 14 children, 3 of them died. And the other members of the family, may namatay nila. Basta total, they had like 18 people who died. And that's because of the decision of one family member. Pero, kaya ko ito kinukwento because it's an emotional roller coaster. Pag nasa gitna ka nun, kasi tuwing nag-negotiate ka, napapalibutan ko yung community at nag-chance sila to throw you away. But you have to stand your ground because you're there with the program. again, it's one of the stories na makikita niyo sa field kasi my life that way. Now, gusto ko itong kinanta niyo kanina communication with the heart. Kaya binalo ko yung slide ko today. So every quarantine ng Bola, they go for a dance. Kasi it's a celebration na release na. And it's always when a community is celebrating, you're celebrating them. Because it's about being with them. Because you know essence of communication. So you always work with them. At the same time, I also want to add here, kahit anong outbreak, Africa, sa kabundukan ng Africa, sa islands ng Pacific, I always go to an outbreak wearing my high heels. So, yun nga, kasi non-negotiable ko yun. I have to make myself happy so I can help others as well in my future. So, thank you.
Maraming salamat. Talagang blockbuster experiences ni Ma'am Joy in the field. Grabe, very inspiring.
Medyo speechless ako, ma'am, kasi, oo. Nag-imagine ko yung situation kayo ni Ma'am Joy, na parang just trying to communicate with the people, the risk of, passing around a sick child, tapos nandun yung mga tao against her. So nakikita ko talaga yung soul ni Ma'am Joy, na parang sobrang strong niya. No, talagang soul talaga, hindi. Pero yung spirit ni Ma'am Joy, to stand her ground para dalhin at i-practice yung development communication practitioner that she is.
And siguro, para siguro magawa mo doon, you really have to have something, your mission, na doon mo hugutin yung strength to do what is necessary in the face of these very hard and very harsh realities.
Exactly.
Ayun. So again, we hope that our viewers on live streaming were able to enjoy and to be inspired by those speeches at bit.ly/cbcaa 2016.
Siyempre, tuloy-tuloy pa rin po yung pag-upload nyo on social media. Don't forget to use the hashtag CBCAA2016.
Ayun. So I'm sure our audience members, our Devcom students and faculty members then and other members of the community want to ask questions and
Probably to share your insights about what happened today.
So please just approach one of the microphone. Ilan ba yung microphone?
We have two microphones.
We have two microphones on the floor. So please just approach them to ask your questions. We are now opening the floor for the open forum.
Just go ahead.
Go. Kakahiyaan pa yata.
It doesn't come every time or every day na nandito yung mga outstanding alumni natin.
Yes, this is a very rare opportunity kasi after today, babalik na sila sa iba't ibang
babalik na rin kayo sa
locations.
Siguro yung harsh realities na itong mga students natin. Just kidding. So do we have questions or does anyone want to share his or her insights or reflections?
Baka from the faculty members, they want to ask questions or make clarifications sa ating mga distinguished alumni. Go, guys.
So baka dun sa sa Facebook natin or sa tweets baka may nag-a-ask din ng questions. So kung may question kayo dyan sa mga nasa loob ng kanilang mga tahanan or dormitories, just use the hashtag CBCAA2016 for your questions. Sir Chico? Alam ko may okay. So mukhang wala tayong questions. Na-overwhelmed tayo, oo. Kasi kahit ako din na-speechless nga ako kanina right after nung speech ni Ma'am Joy. Sa mga Devcom 10, oo yan. Tinatawag natin yung pansin ng mga Devcom 10 students, di ba? Or tweets. Yeah, sige, habang naghihintay tayo, ano ba yung mga sinasabi ng mga people? Ayan. Sabi ni, can I redact the name? Can I say the name? Or should I redact? Ay, sorry. I'm sorry. Ayan. Sabi ni Ruth Ann Recto, the talk from the Devcom's finest has ended. Not yet, a joke lang. Students are encouraged to ask questions, share insights as the open forum starts. So ikaw din, Ruth, mag-ask ka din ng questions. Ayan, a joke lang. Ayan. Sabi ng CTC Student Council, she quoted, or the student council quoted Miss Joy Revaca, communication with the heart. So mostly these are quotes. Sabi ni Pauline Albad, Miss Revaca shares another experience of a mother who gave birth and died due to the Ebola virus. So mukhang wala overwhelmed din yun nandito sa feed natin. Ayan, sabi ni Ryla Cristel, pag hindi timely, walang kwenta. Pag hindi transparent, walang kwenta. Ayan, siguro yung mga tumatak talaga yung mga lines, no? Mga aphorisms ni Miss Joy kanina.
Okay, so going once, going twice, meron pa bang questions or comments from our audience? Kung wala na, we will be moving on to the next part of our program.
Yes.
Which is the awarding of certificates to our distinguished alumni. May we call on Dean Maria Teresa H. Velasco and Assistant Professor Sherwin Joseph Felicidario to present the certificates to our awardees. Okay, so first may we call on Dr. Karen Eloisa Baroga, the CBC Distinguished Alumna in Agricultural Extension and Communication for 2016. And the citation reads, the College of Development Communication, UP Los Baños, and the College of Development Communication Alumni Association present this certificate of appreciation to Dr. Karen Eloisa Baroga, CBC's 2016 Distinguished Alumna in Agricultural Extension and Communication, for delivering an inspirational talk on development communication practice at Speaking of Devcom, Conversations with Devcom's Finest, given this 10th day of October 2016 at the College of Development Communication, UP Los Baños. Signed Dr. Maria Teresa H. Velasco and Assistant Professor Sherwin Joseph Felicidario. So congratulations, Dr. Baroga. Ma'am, please stand at the side muna po for the photo opportunity. Next, may we call on Ms. Lourdes Margarita Caballero, the CBC Distinguished Alumna in Knowledge Management for Quality. Ms. Caballero. Next, may we call on Dr. Hafid Shangara, CBC Distinguished Alumnus in Communication Education. Next, may we call on Mr. Ranel Martin Dedicatoria, CBC Distinguished Alumnus in Climate Change and Integrated Resources Management. And finally, may we call on Ms. Joy Rivaca, CBC Distinguished Alumna in Risk Communication and Public Health. May we call on the awardees to step forward for photo ops. Again, congratulations to our awardees. And now for the closing remarks, may we call on Assistant Professor Sherwin Joseph Felicitario, President of the CPC Alumni Association.
Maraming salamat po, Democracy. Thank you. Thank you to our distinguished alumni, Mr. Randel Martin Dicatoria, Dr. Karen Eloisa Doroga, Ms. Joy Rivaca, Ms. Lourdes Margarita Caballero, and Dr. Hafid Changara for gracing the event. Thank you for sharing your stories, your experiences to our Devcom partners, to our students, both BS, MS, and PhD, and our colleagues in the faculty and staff. At this point, I'd like to thank also the faculty and staff of the College of Development Communication, the Dean, Dr. Maria Teresa Velasco, all the department chairs, and sa lahat po ng faculty members who supported the event or this activity, headed by, of course, Professor Aldo Gabriel Lim, Sir Aldo. Siya po ang punong abala sa event or sa activity this afternoon with the help or support of Devcom 199 CD. Where are Devcom 199 CD? Sa ilalim po ni Professor Tadio Salia, of course. I'd like to thank also the members of the CDC Alumni Association for this activity, sa inyo pong lahat ng suporta, sa lahat po ng members, our MC, our hosts, sa lahat po ng bisita, our guests, our partners, our administrative staff na naghanda po ng ating munting salo-salo sa labas mamaya paglabas natin. Munti ba yun? Pero marami tayong food dun sa labas. All our students sa Devcom po, ang BS, ang MS, ang PhD. This is one of the I think yung revival ng Speaking of Devcom series that we will be producing for the College of Development Communication. More of our Speaking of Devcom starting next year by February. Magkakaroon na po tayo ng quarterly na Speaking of Devcom series na para sa mga estudyante ng Devcom. So more of our distinguished alumni, our graduates, will be sharing their stories, ang kanila pong mga kwento sa ating lahat. Of course, yung live streaming natin na napapanood, I'd like to thank you, Ms. Ricky Mendiola, and of course, Chad Robert for making live streaming possible. And I know maraming nakakatuwa, hindi man tayo nag-trend, but at least we have quite a number of viewers online on YouTube and on Facebook Live. Thank you very much for sharing. We have 2,400 views! Thank you po sa lahat ng nanonood sa amin online. I'm sure ang ating pong mga distinguished alumni ay yun yung inabangan ng ating mga matutuon online. So, sa inyo pong lahat na sumuporta sa event natin. Speaking of Devcom, at sa suporta po sa Kolehiyo ng Komunikasyong Pagpapalaran. Ganun din po sa CDC Alumni Association. Ito po ang CDC Alumni Awards 2016. Hanggang sa muli po, maraming salamat at magandang hapon po sa inyo. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much everyone and have a good afternoon. Let's share some simple snacks and more conversations. Maybe you want to have pictures taken with our distinguished alumni.